standing on the yellow line at the railroad crossing.
Junction City police say the discovery of a 2- and 5-year-old standing in the middle of the road has led to charges against their mother.
A man sits in the Wayne County Jail accused of stealing thousands of rounds of ammunition from a summer camp and then trying to sell those bullets.
And some lawmakers expressing their concerns over the state's needle exchange program.
If we're putting more needles out than we're getting in, that's still a risk that's out there.
We're talking to a state senator about a potential bill.
This is WKYT News at 6.
Good evening. Police say her children were found outside by a railroad track barefoot. Tonight, a Boyle County mother is in jail accused of putting her children in danger. Police say they found Carla Martin's 2 young children in the middle of Kentucky Highway 300 at the Shelby Street Railroad crossing in Junction City. We're told the children were not dressed for a cold morning, and police say Martin waited an hour to report her children missing. Victor Puente is tracking the investigation in our top story at 6.
Police say the sun was just beginning to rise yesterday morning when a man on his way to work had to hit his brakes because there were 2 toddlers standing in the middle of West Shelby Street in Junction City.
He stopped and asked them what they were doing. They immediately jumped in the car with him.
That 2- and 5-year-old ended up at the police department where the search began for their parents. Chief Baldwin says they were both barefoot.
They had no business being out, period, anyway, but especially without any shoes or any warm clothing on.
He says it was at least 45 minutes after the kids were found, the dispatch got a call from Carla Martin saying her kids were missing. She lives about 1/8 of a mile from those train tracks. Baldwin says Martin should have called police as soon as she noticed the 2 were gone.
Not 45 minutes or an hour later. And that just shows neglect on her part as a parent in the eyes of the way the laws are written.
Martin was charged with 2 counts of endangering the welfare of a minor. He says he's thankful that driver was paying attention to the road.
Any distraction at all would have ended up very badly.
Chief Baldwin says one of the things that makes this even more dangerous is that a train crosses this intersection about every 15 minutes.
It's just like clockwork.
Baldwin says those 2 children have been placed in the custody of relatives. His department is working with social services, and there may be more charges coming.
It hits home for us, especially right around the holidays when everybody's supposed to be acting as a family unit. But every day of the year, you should be attentive to where your children are and all your loved ones.
In Boyle County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Chief Baldwin says at the time the children were found, the temperature in Junction City was in the mid-30s. A Southern Kentucky man is accused of stealing from a youth camp. Police in Wayne County say Glenn Dixon stole thousands of rounds of ammunition from a 4-H camp last year. We're told Dixon used to work for the camp near Lake Cumberland, but police do not believe he acted alone. Tonight, they're looking for his son, Josh Dixon. Phil Pendleton has the latest on the case.
This all began months ago, June 22nd, when police say 50-year-old Glenn Randall Dixon and his son Josh, who worked at the Lake Cumberland 4-H Educational Center, began making off with boxes of gun ammo.
Obviously, it's a serious situation when you talk about ammo, you know. It's 30-something thousand rounds of ammo.
Police suspect the boxes of ammo were taken between late June and early July. Camp officials called police when ammunition for gun safety could not be found.
They use that to learn safety in firearms and everything, and just to have it stolen from them where they can't even shoot it's really disheartening.
The Dixons were identified as suspects several months after the thefts.
They told us about, you know, someone trying to sell them ammo, and that's what led us to Mr. Dixon and his son.
And I spoke briefly with Glenn Dixon over the phone. He told me that he could not tell me much because he needs to speak with an attorney first, but he did say that he doesn't believe that the charges against him can be proven. Police say Josh Dixon is still at large. As to what happened to all the ammo, it appears all of it was either sold or is simply unaccounted for.
Word that we got, they was getting $100 a box for 5,000 rounds.
Court records say the Dixons made off with the ammo from the camp when, quote, the boss was gone. In Wayne County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
The camp manager at the 4-H Educational Center said he could not comment on the case, citing the ongoing investigation. Police say the cost of replacing the ammunition will be more than $3,000.
We continue to track the investigation into an early morning shooting here in Lexington. So far, police have not made any arrests. The shooting happened on Roosevelt Boulevard around 5 a.m. Police say they found a 28-year-old man in front of a home next to a blue truck. We're told that the man was shot two to three times. He was taken to UK hospital in critical condition. The man who lives at that home says he just moved to the area and doesn't know why the man was in front of his house.
Yeah, I heard about his background through here. Because anybody tell you when New Year's come in, you're going to hear gunshots and everything.
Lexington police are not sure what led up to the shooting. They tell us they do not have any persons of interest at this time.
Her family says they have a long road ahead of them. Deborah Rogers and her 2 children were in a car last month that hit a truck head-on in Madison County. Rogers and one of the children were badly injured and taken to UK hospital. Their family says the bills are piling up. Garrett Weimer talked to family members.
Family members are recovering, but life will never be the same after that crash on Cartersville Road here near Berea a few weeks ago. As the Rogers family works to heal, they also need some help. Deveda Reynolds has been by her daughter Deborah Rogers' side ever since the crash. Rogers was paralyzed from the waist down. Her 7-year-old daughter Emma fractured her skull when she was thrown from the car. Thankfully, family tells us Emma is now out of the hospital and doing okay. But with Mom in the hospital, it's been a difficult time for the family, especially her kids. Friends have set up a GoFundMe page to help them out as the bills continue to pile up.
It has been really hard on the family. Her husband and I have been with her day and night. We've had a lot of ups and downs with her, but she's getting better. We're just praising the Lord for what she has done for her, and she is getting better.
Deborah Rogers had surgery and is now at Cardinal Hill Hospital in Lexington for rehab. Family members say they've seen some setbacks, but they're also thankful that she's already made some progress. In Madison County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Rogers' 10-year-old son Alex was also in the car at the time of the crash, but was not hurt. Well, it's a sunny start to 2016. We saw the clouds move out this afternoon, and some spots even saw temperatures in the 40s.
But we are tracking another shot of some cold air for our weekend. Meteorologist Jim Caldwell has an early check now of that forecast. How about it, Jim?
Especially, guys, as we get into the second half of it, Sunday night going into Monday. That's when that real solid chill arrives in the area. Right now, we're trying to get to that level. It's 35 degrees in Lexington, 34 in Mount Sterling. Factor in the winds a little bit, and it does make it feel a little bit cooler in some locations because you got 20s showing up with the wind chill readings out there in many locations. And that's going to be the case, I think, throughout the better part of the overnight until those winds kind of die down a little bit. Sky's clear, as we mentioned there. We're tracking a beautiful sunset off in the distance. Sun's already gone, but just the glow around the horizon looks fantastic. We're in the mid-30s right now, so this evening, that's kind of the whole pace that we're on right now. 35 degrees for you through the evening hours. We get into the overnight tonight. How about a good range will be 23 to about 28 degrees, but 23 I think will be a common sight, especially around central sections of Kentucky. And then we get into the day tomorrow. We are looking at highs around 39, some of you back in the low 40s, so right around normal before that big chill does start to dig in. I'll track it coming up in just a few minutes.
It has lawmakers asking questions. Tonight we're hearing from a state senator about the state's needle exchange. The Fayette County Health Department requires a person to bring in a dirty needle to get a clean one. But in Louisville, it's not a requirement, and some lawmakers want to see more restrictions. New at 6, Miranda Combs talks to a state senator about a potential bill.
State Senator Whitney Westerfield tells me he's pretty confident there will be new legislation regarding the state's needle exchange program. The Fayette County Health Department is one of just 2 needle exchanges in this state. The other is in Louisville, where it's not required to bring in dirty needles to get clean ones back. In Fayette County, if a person brings in dirty needles, they can get up to 21 needles back at a time. Louisville's way of giving out needles without taking any has raised eyebrows since the summer for for legislators like Westerfield.
One of the purposes, anyway, was to make sure we cut down on needle sticks, or the occurrence and presence of needles, dirty needles, just out in the general public. And if we're putting more needles out than we're getting in, that's still a risk that's out there that we're not addressing as well as we should.
Westerfield says he's not sure who will file a bill, but he feels confident someone will file legislation requiring a one-for-one needle exchange. Westerfield says when they designed the initial needle exchange, they didn't put restrictions on it at the time, figuring different parts of the state would want to handle it differently. In the newsroom, Miranda Combs, WKYT.
Miranda, thank you. The Franklin County Fiscal Court recently approved a needle exchange program as well.
It's a big weekend on the hardwood for UK. It's the opening weekend of league play for the SEC.
The Cats will host Ole Miss tomorrow night at Rupp, and Coach Cal expects it to be a close one, Rob.
Well, it's never easy going through conference play, and it gets going tomorrow night, as you said, as the Cats take on the Ole Miss Rebels in Rupp Arena. John Calipari has had his team going through what he calls Camp Cal during semester break. All basketball, unlimited practice time. Cal believes he's been able to get in good work.
We can zero in on an offense and just get better at that. You can really work on fundamentals. You have time. I mean, you start doing 3 sessions a day, it would be like having 3.5-hour practices.
It's all right. You know, of course, it's going to be challenging. Your body feel like it can't go, but that's when your mind has to step in and say, I'm ready to go. So it's been difficult, but we're basketball players, so we can get through it. It's nothing too hard.
Ole Miss tomorrow night in Rupp. Cal said today that Isaiah Briscoe is good to go after turning that ankle prior to the Louisville game. He said he's been impressed by Ty Wynyard. Game tomorrow night will be on the SEC network. Rick Pitino also held a news conference today. He was asked about an obscene gesture as he left the Rupp Arena floor last Saturday. I'll have his response coming up in sports.